Hey, welcome, ChuggieBets fans, to the NFL podcast. I'm joined with Danny, Andy, and Al. Before we do anything, we have to chug our beer, so cheers.
Cheers!
Who's ready to chug some beers and make some bad gambling picks? Welcome to ChuggieBets.
Speaking of vibing, we're vibing together. We got a bunch of NFL picks. It's going to be amazing. But before we get into any of that, let's talk. Make sure you like the podcast, follow us, subscribe, ring the bell, do all those things. Spread the word, right? We appreciate everything you guys do for us. You're the reason we do this. It may not be true. We like freaking talk games, but we love that you want to join this ride with us.
It's for you, Joey.
It's for Joey.
You're a reason we do this.
You're one of the reasons. Before we get into the lines and the game and all the action, does anyone have anything they want to share from this week? I can start. Are the Jets and the Dolphins actually playing good football for once? Because I'm used to them sucking. And I watched Red Zone the other day, and they were showing them a lot, and they're not usually on the Red Zone. They're usually like the bastard stepchild that's like, oh, yeah, this game's still going on, but it's like 30 points. Like, who cares?
To be fair,
Matt,
the Dolphins weren't in the red zone a lot. We were just scoring touchdowns from outside of the red zone a lot.
Oh, yeah, they were.
Nukes. Matt, let me ask you this. Did the Jets win, you said, right?
Correct.
Did the Jags win?
Hey, your boy dropped it here. Your boy, who doesn't bet the NFL very often, dropped it here and said, take the Jags plus
They
4.
did.
That's
Hell
good.
I argued with you on that.
Did the Lions win?
They sure did. They look great.
And did the New York Giants win?
They did.
The 2-0
Because I'm
Giants.
pretty sure it's been 11 years since those four teams won on the same Sunday.
Wow.
So that's
Wow,
pretty
11
strong for you.
years? That's
let's
insane.
see.
I didn't know how many times all 4 of those teams have lost on a Sunday.
Dude, how many games is that? Is that like 11 years, 60?
I think we had
14? That's like 3,000 games?
3,934 days. So that's
Holy
probably
shit, that's
11
like-
years.
I think between the 4 of us,
Almost
we
11.
had 3 less wives and 8 less kids.
Yeah.
Oof.
At that time. So,
I do
Wow.
want to say one thing. Ron
Fuck.
Rivera did something that puzzled the shit out of
Sure.
me. He was down 8, and instead of kicking the extra point to get to 7, he tried to go for 2. And it was like the most puzzling play of the week. I'm like, what's the logic here? Like, now you're putting yourself in a really hard position. And as a guy who had that in my teaser and just needed, and then they missed the extra point later, and it was just a disaster after that. I'm like, I knew it was screwed from that moment in time where Ron Rivera, he was doing some big brain math. His brain was not big enough for it.
It's a hot analytics play is when you're down by
14.
you go for 2 on the first touchdown so that if you get it, the extra point wins on the second touchdown. If you don't get it, you can still go for 2 to tie.
Not if you
So
don't get
that's
it.
because it's funny because that happened in a couple games. Because another one, I was watching the red zone feed on my computer, and Scott Hansen was on top of that right off the bat, and then it happened on the TV, and the announcers were like, "Well, I don't understand why you don't just kick the extra point." And it's like, okay,
I was that guy, but I had money
Yeah.
on it.
well, yeah, when you got money on
take
it, you
that,
just kick the fucking
baby.
extra point.
Well, I can tell you I'm glad that Mike McDaniel didn't do that shit
Oh.
because on our way back, we didn't need any 2-point conversion extra points because we just took that lead. You settled on their greatest kicker of all time bullshit to kick some 55-yard field goal to keep their lead. And then what did we do? We just needed Tua to go down and score another touchdown.
Has anything ever felt better than Justin Tucker kicking a field goal? Like, that is the most automatic thing in football, right?
Tua underthrowing Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, that did it.
That feels great. It feels great when Tua underthrows Tyreek Hill.
Matt, I do have one thing I want to talk about before we get into picks, which is that you, my friend, were 3-1 last week.
Your boy did all right.
Well done. I think that means you have a chuggy to give out at some point.
Oh, look at me. Look at me. Well, I'll give it back this week for sure.
And just like last week, when Al had an amazing record and I was behind him by one game, I went 4-2 this week. So I was again one game off from having the best record. I'm gonna have it one of these days.
You're absolved from receiving Matt's chuggy.
You get it this week. No, you're gonna get it now for sure. All right, let's get into the picks, right? So on Thursday night, we got an AFC North battle between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cleveland Browns. I believe the Browns are laying 5.5. Danny, do you have a play here?
Yeah, the Browns are – people are overreacting to this Browns-Jets game, man. The Jets stink. Sorry, Joey. The Jets stink, and I'm going to take Pittsburgh because people are overreacting to the Browns playing the Jets stuff. And they lost to the Jets. They lost to a stinky Jets team. Pittsburgh, while they're not playing great right now, but they're still Pittsburgh, and they're gonna beat the Browns, who don't even have their quarterback.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I think you could make a good case for taking either side, and when that is the case, I do not bet it. So you lay your points, or you take your points, Danny. And I wish you the best.
I'm going to take them all. I took them at 2.5 when it first opened. I'm going to take them at 5.5 now. If it keeps moving, I'll take them again at 7.5. I don't care if everybody else thinks I'm wrong. I know I'm right here. I think Pittsburgh will probably win the game.
At what point do you think Kenny Pickett has to come in? Like that offense is really bad. Like look, much love to Trubisky. He's been good enough. Is that fair? I'm trying to soften this as much as I can.
I think what Trubisky is, I think he's a second half cover monster. I think he blows the first half and then you take the second half line and he's like a monster covering it. But that's not how you win games in the NFL. So
Andy,
I would love to see Kenny Pickett. They put Kenny Pickett in.
Yeah, I'm excited for later in the season when we get to see Kenny Pickett. I'm not putting my money on Mitch Trubisky getting less than a touchdown, so I'm passing on this. If I had to bet it, I'd probably lay it with Cleveland, but I'm not betting. So good luck.
This line has moved from 2 to 5.5. Do you think there is a rumor of Pickett coming in, and that's the reason for the line movement?
I think it's Cleveland can still put up points with a shitty quarterback and Pittsburgh can't.
They do have good balance.
That's pretty much the long and short of it. I think all things combined, Andy liking the points, and Danny taking the points, and me saying Trubisky's a second half cover monster means you might have an opportunity to live. So keep an score around halftime.
All right. Good stuff. The first game on the docket for Sunday at 1 p.m. when Hanson is firing up his dulcet tones is New Orleans Saints, Carolina Panthers. We don't have a play on it. I would probably lean the Panthers +3. I know it's a stinky line, but that's the way I'm feeling. But let's go to the Texans and the Bears, a game that no one should have to watch. Let's start off with Al. Al, what you got?
Yeah, so this is one that I debated taking off just because I've faded the Texans twice this year and they bit me in the ass both times. I was on the Bears week 1, so made money off of that. I faded them this week and made money off of that. So here's hoping that I can do it one more time. Lay the 2.5 with the Bears at home. I really think home field advantage is a bigger thing to contend with in the NFL than in both college and a lot of other sports. Just the ball seems to bounce the home team's way, the crowd's into it. So I'm laying the points 2.5 with the Bears. I think this thing might move too. I probably would not take the Bears over a field goal. So I don't know where now, but that's just something to consider if you're out here betting.
Andy, what you got for us, bud?
So I'm also on the Bears -2.5, which I actually feel even better about now that I know that Al's a Bear whisperer, and he's on them as well.
Look at this beard. Of course, I'm a Bear whisperer.
The thought process for me is Houston has actually looked better the last 2 weeks than I think most people thought they were going to. People came into the season thinking the Texans were going to be a historically bad team, and they tied Indy, and then they hung with Denver. But I think Indy and Denver might both be worse than people thought. Russell Wilson is obviously taking some time to settle in Denver. He got booed at home.
Nathaniel Hackett is trash. Man, that's a bad coach.
Yeah.
The Broncos coach?
Yeah. And then the other side of this is the Houston Texans coach is Lovie Smith, who I am way too familiar with from his time at Illinois. And I am not trusting a Lovie Smith team to go on the road. And this is actually back to his old stomping grounds. He was the head coach in Chicago.
Took him to the Super Bowl.
He did.
Yeah.
He did. And he's been.
Devin Hester returned the opening kickoff for a touchdown, and that's Miami Hurricanes scored the first 2 touchdowns in that Super Bowl. Not to make this about, a different college thing. Go on.
About Miami again.
So that's it. And then,
sorry to cut you off, Andy. I'm pretty sure a young Tua Tagovailoa was in the crowd at that Super Bowl. Sorry. Bad joke. Had to interrupt.
He was there with Tyler Van Dyke, I'm sure.
Andy,
No,
Andy, go ahead.
Laying 2.5 with the Bears.
So Davis Mills has a historic thing where he's really good at home and really shit on the road. And I'm going to counteract that because the Bears are really shit in general, and the Texans are really shit. So I'm just laying the points. I found a line that's plus 3.5, and beyond the field goal, I think it's worthwhile to assume that if in the battle of the shit, I'd rather take the points. And that's the only logic there. Then neither team is particularly good. Those 2 teams in Atlanta and Seattle may be the 4 worst teams in the league. So let's roll the dice on plus 3.5.
We just needed to land 3, and then everybody wins.
Hey,
is Fields gonna be bad forever? Like, is he?
He's not bad. The team is bad.
I don't know. 7 of 11 for 70 yards and an interception is bad.
He's got nobody to throw to.
Game
that's like a 74% completion rate. 64.
He's got nobody to throw to. He would love to have University of Miami's receivers right now.
Oh boy, Restrepo! You got Restrepo out here.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, I love Justin Fields. I want him to be good. I've mentioned this a couple times. I think he's a good player. He just seems like a good kid. He's an adult, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
he
they're
just
all
seems
good
like
stuff. We're old.
That's a good point.
All right.
Anyway,
let's
I
move
want
on.
him to succeed. I want him to succeed, and he was so bad last week, or at least like not successful. He was unsuccessful last week. I don't know. They didn't give him a lot of chances to succeed.
It was a
it's early in his career.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move over to one team that is impressing people and one team that's been absolute garbage. We'll go to the Kansas City Chiefs going into the RCA Dome. I know it's not called that anymore, but I'm going to call it that forever. And the Indianapolis Colts. I think Andy has a play here.
Yeah, I said on my last pick that the Colts have looked really bad through 2 weeks, and the Chiefs have looked pretty good. The Chiefs almost covered this number against the Chargers last week. Like, the Chargers needed a last-second touchdown to get inside this number. What in the world have you seen from Indianapolis that makes you think that they can hang with Kansas City? Now, I know Michael Pittman was out yesterday, and I don't know if he'll be back, but I don't care. I don't care. Indy has looked so bad. I'm laying 7 with one of the best teams in the league.
My only fear here is
what would this line have to be for you to take Indy? Because for me, like, I'd be on the fence at 17. Like, you're giving me Patrick Mahomes, even though he's on the road, he's in a dome. You're giving me an absolute ass Colts team, even if Pittman plays. Pittman is a difference maker. He's really good. But, I'm going to follow Andy on this. You go ahead and lock me in on this, dude. Chiefs minus
all right.
7. Absolutely.
I kind of am leaning the other way because I think Indy can't continue to be this bad. If I get 7 and a hook, I'm kind of considering the other way because Jonathan Taylor's good. Michael Pittman's good. Matt Ryan can't all of a sudden be bad. People in Indiana are clamoring for Carson Wentz. That's how bad the situation's been early on. And that's not a joke. Like, I'm not making that up. But I feel like there's got to be a correction coming. They may not be good, but they're good enough to hang around in a game.
I mean, I think this Colts offense was designed to funnel almost entirely through Michael Pittman, and him being out was a big wrench in their offensive game plan this past week. I do think they've got a great running back, but I mean, the Chiefs have Chris Jones. They've been known to show up on defense and stop the run when they have to. Man, I don't know. That'll be fun to keep an eye on. Danny, are you jumping in on that, or did that is that a typo? Are you following us on the Chiefs?
No, I'm not going to follow you guys on the Chiefs, but I did just want to mention that Jonathan Taylor last season had, in the first 8 weeks, I believe he ran for over 100 yards 3 times, and then the last 8 weeks he ran for over 100 yards 7 times. So, slow starter. I mentioned this last week. Gets his yards in the second half. One of the reasons they look so bad this early in the season, Jonathan Taylor's their best player. He's not good early in the season.
Good point. That's
I
a
mean,
really
is it
good
that he's not good, or they're not giving him touches? Because that's something that'd be fun.
I mean, he only got 9 carries. He only got 9 carries last week and like 2 targets, so that's a good point too.
Yeah,
Matt Ryan,
it has to
Ryan's
do
not
with
really looking for him early.
Probably has to do with if they're playing from behind or not. And when you're playing the Chiefs, you're going to be playing from behind a lot. So he might not even be much of a factor this next week.
Yeah,
that's true. Good point. Man, you guys are
Yeah.
bringing it today. Well, let's go down to the 305. We got the Buffalo Bills, who look formidable, coming into Miami. I believe the Bills are a 5-point favorite. Al, what you got?
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I know you guys are all Miami fans. I'm gonna lay the points with the Bills. I can totally see the Dolphins biting me in the ass on this one if it came down to it, but I do really think that there's not a team that can contend with the Bills if they're on, and they have been on. They've even had their moments in these past couple weeks where it looks like they're fucking up, and they're like, let's just like flip a switch, and they're cruising. I think I saw tonight they have scored 27 or more points in like 9 straight games. That's tough. I think the Dolphins coming off that game against might be a little bit inflated as well.
I agree with you. I would probably lay the points of Buffalo here. I'd also look at the over, considering the point that what you said about Buffalo. Look, Baltimore ripped the Dolphins apart, and they crawled back into the game. They didn't crawl. They absolutely parachuted back into the game, but in a fast fashion. And I don't see any reason. I don't see Buffalo getting 35 points this week. So if the Dolphins could put up a reasonable number, it may be worthwhile looking at the over. I think it's at 51. Anyone else?
Yeah,
Andy called this
Bills
shit
over
last week with the Dolphins that our secondary is questionable, and he said he was worried about the second corner, but it turned out we had to be worried about both corners because Baltimore's lame ass receivers ran all over us. Andy had the Dolphins pegged. Bills have way better receivers with us. They have Gabe Davis, the guy out of UCF, and Stephon Diggs, and they got guys running all over that the secondary. So this game concerns me a lot. 5 points against the Dolphins after the defensive performance these guys just put up, and expecting Tua to play the way he just did again. Of course, Tua's going to play the way he just did again. There's no way I'm going to bet against the Dolphins.
I like that little turn you did, Danny. Surprised me.
What I was gonna say to you, Matt, regardless, is this game that we just saw the Bills beating the
Titans.
Like the Titans. That total was like 47 and a half, and they cleared that number halfway through the third quarter. So yeah, I think especially with the way the Dolphins played last week, that if you can get 20 points out of the Dolphins, this thing's hitting easy.
I do too. I think the
I like
over
that.
is probably a good play there. I could see it being 31-21, something like that,
Yeah.
where you cover and the over just clips.
I think
problem with playing
especially
the over in this game. My problem with playing the over in this game is Mike McDaniel's a really good coach, it seems, and I feel like he's going to go into this game knowing we're overmatched and try and clock this game.
Ooh,
I feel like he's going
maybe
to try and clock this game.
limit the possessions.
If you remember Tony Sparano against Peyton Manning, the way we almost beat him back in the day, he would just try and like give Peyton Manning 0 time with the ball, but then Peyton would just like score a touchdown every single time.
Mhm.
And we almost beat him a couple times doing it that way. I feel like that's the best chance we have against this Buffalo team, and I feel like that's what McDaniel can play the clock game. He'll do it. He's not always going to play this high flying where we got to come from behind offense. He'll play the running and clock game.
That's a good point, buddy. That's a good point. All right, let's move over to Al's stomping ground. We've got the Lions coming in. I'm sorry, Lions are traveling to Skull Country, to Minnesota for the Lions Vikings. I think I'm the only one with a play here, and the only play I have is this. Lions have been pretty good offensively, right? Really impressive. I've been impressed. Everyone's been impressed. I don't think Jared Goff can keep it up. I think eventually the numbers will back him up. I could see this game. I don't know what the live number is. I think it's probably 4.5 or 5 for the Vikings. But I'm taking the under 53.
I think Matt throws on us.
Yeah, that happens sometimes with the internet. So Matt was on the under 53. I'm guessing he was going to talk some shit about Jared Goff, and then he was going to talk some shit about Kirk Cousins, and then he was just going to move on. So then we can talk about the next game. Unless Al, you had something.
Yeah, I'm not particularly a fan of taking the under because the Lions have scored 35 plus points in 3 games straight.
That leads me to wanting to take the under
last year.
That actually leads me to wanting to take the under, and the reason is because I have had Man Campbell as my coach before, and he's done the 35 points plus in 2 or 3 games straight, and then he will turn.
Danny, you did this last week. You did this last week when you said that the Lions weren't going to win, right? And then the Lions went out and won.
Yeah, I noticed I don't have a pick on this game, and I'm not betting it.
No,
I'm just trying to fill Matt's time before he logs back in.
No, you're good. I don't know. I at first I thought I liked the Vikings, and then I don't know. It seems like the Lions might be a sneaky good play here. I think Matt said 4.5 or 5. I don't know where it's at because it was at 7.5 or 7 earlier today before Monday Night Football. If it's still around 7, I'd probably take the Lions. If it's closer to 4, I don't know. I'll just lay off.
I will say, if I had to bet this game, I would want to go to church with Kirk Cousins and his dad outfits that he wears after games. So that's the pick I would make.
Fair enough. All right, let's take it to the next game where, without Matt here, we're all 3 on the same side. Who wants to go ahead and kick it off? Danny, you want to go ahead?
I'll do it. Lamar Jackson is hot, man. He had a perfect quarterback rating against a very, very good Dolphins defense. He had Xavier Howard chasing terrible receivers. All right. That is a good cornerback running after guys that we've never heard of. Nobody in the NFL drafted them in like the top 3 rounds. Those were nobodies that he had the best cornerback in the NFL chasing. That guy is one of the best players in the NFL, and he's going up against like the New England Patriots. Come on. Yeah. The Dolphins beat them.
I'm pretty sure I saw Lamar Jackson threw a touchdown and rushed for a touchdown, both over 70 plus yards. So
yes, that happened.
Yeah,
the worst play Lamar Jackson had that game is he slightly overthrew Andrews on like a 40-yard touchdown pass, and they missed that one, and that's how the Dolphins ended up winning that game, because they had to kick a field goal on that one. It was an amazing game offensively by both teams.
Look, the Pats dynasty is officially over. Their defense is still good. It's a good defense. Their offense is not good enough to win games and cover field goals with an offense as inept as what they currently have. So especially with the pencil-loving, beard-having Matt Patricia under making calls for that offense. It's bad. It's
Did they hire the old Lions coach back to be on an offensive coordinator?
Yeah, so the defensive guru, Matt Patricia, that the Lions hired for head coach
Yeah.
and who could not win a game and whose team almost like mutinied against him, he got shit canned, went crawling back to Belichick, and he hired him as their offensive coordinator. Because that's what you do, right? That makes sense.
I feel like Belichick is he may be past his prime.
Ooh, hot take.
I think here's a hot take. Belichick has always been a product of his coordinators, and now he's got shit ones because they've all left.
Or he was or they were all a product of Brady. Maybe they all should have been doing TB12.
That's a good bit too. Yeah.
Like, was Brady so good that he propped up Bill Belichick, Josh McDaniels, all those other guys?
Yeah. Yes.
He's an economy.
I mean, it's possible. Brady's really good.
Yeah.
So just to bring it back to this pick,
is Brady also propping up Giselle? Is that possible? Is he that good? No, he's not that good. Is Giselle propping them all up?
So to bring it back to this pick here, Ravens and New England, both of these teams have played the Dolphins, right? And so I've watched every play of those two games, every snap, and the Dolphins didn't look very good, and they beat New England handily, and they looked great, and they barely beat the Ravens. So, just looking at that, like, the Ravens have been high-flying both weeks, and yes, I know the first game was against the Jets, but the Jets showed in week 2 that they're not just going to lay down and die. So I think this is an easy pick. If it stays at a field goal or less, laying the points with the Ravens all day.
Yeah.
I would have taken this at 6.5 or less, and it was at 3. So, yeah.
Andy, I think you and I are in agreement on the next two.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Cincinnati at the Jets. I know I am not a believer in the Bengals this year. I think in our first podcast, I called them frauds. I said they were a 7-win team max. But I think this is one of those ones. I think they can cover this. I think, the Jets got that spirited, come from behind victory. They might be smelling their own shit a little too much. And I think the Bengals, after dropping 2 in a row, are going to say, oh, shit, it's time to get our act together. And no better place than the Meadowlands.
Yeah, I'm exactly with you there. I think Joe Burrow didn't play much, if at all, in the preseason because of his appendix deal. So he might need to knock a little rust off, which he's had 2 games to do now. I think that this line has come way down because the Bengals are 0-2 and the Jets pulled out that miraculous win last week. But I don't think that speaks to the actual quality of the teams. And so I think we're getting a better number on the Bengals here than we normally would. I think I got it at -4.5. So as long as that one stays under a touchdown, I'm laying it with the Bengals. Maybe the Jets surprise us again. If they do, congrats, Joey. But I'm not expecting them to do it 2 weeks in a row.
Nope. Jets stuck. Sorry, Joey. Jets stink.
No, the Bengals have been playing a little bit below their standard. I think this is a get-right game.
We talked about that with Missouri in the SEC yesterday. So this is the kind of game in the NFL where the Jets can do that for you.
I hope so. 1 o'clock game. Las Vegas is going east to Tennessee. I think I'm the only one with a play here. I don't love taking West teams going east. I don't think Tennessee's very good at all. Like, I know Derrick Henry's pretty good, but the rest of that team is fine. I think what happened last year and the last couple of years has been more of an anomaly than like a standard. And I think Las Vegas got embarrassed what happened against Arizona last week. Not a good performance. Kyler Murray can do that. He's special. When he wants to have a special day, he can be special. I think Las Vegas is the better team. I'm not necessarily worried about going on the road to a vaunted Nashville crowd. I think the play here is the -1 with the team with the better players. Derek Carr is better than Tannehill. Devontae Adams is better than anyone on the receiving roster. Derrick Henry's good, but I would still take Vegas in any situation in this game.
Yeah, you didn't even mention Darren Waller, so.
Yeah, Waller outstanding. I think
he's the second best player on their team to the Derek is a Highlander. Derek Carr's Highlander. Yeah.
So I think that's the play. Like I said, -1 is who do you think is going to win? The biggest concern is going east at a 1:00 game. But luckily, Nashville's only 2 hours different. Sorry, go ahead.
Do you remember what Mike Vrabel said a couple of years ago that he would do in order to win a Super Bowl?
Oh, cut off his penis.
Lock off his penis.
He's going to have to get to cutting here pretty soon. Nothing else seems to be working.
Oh, you think he'll do it to get to a Super Bowl? Like, not even a Super Bowl, like penis slops?
I was thinking it was like, this is the trade I will make so that I will someday win a Super Bowl.
Well, I think it was.
If he's willing to do it, I'm willing to do the chopping.
I think he had to win the Super Bowl first to lose said penis. I don't know if it was like he's just in exchange to eventually lose his own penis.
Yeah, no, I think Matt's right. He would like if I could make this trade, I would need to get Super Bowl first before penis. It wasn't like penis first then Super Bowl. Because I wouldn't like give up my dick and then hope that you're going to give me the Super Bowl. That would not be fair.
I wouldn't give up my dick after winning a Super Bowl.
Honestly, like
you're made out of different stuff. Bill Belichick would not have let you play both ways on his team, Andy.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Bill Belichick makes everyone sign a contract like, are you willing to give up your penis to win a Super Bowl?
Except Tom. That's why Tom went back to he wouldn't sign the contract again after he signed his first 10-year contract of the penis thing, and then after the second one, he's like, no, I'm going to the Bucs.
Have you seen Tom Brady's face? It looks like he already gave up his penis. He's getting very womanly, a little skeletal.
Did you saw him in his initial press conference? Have you seen him lately?
Dude, have you seen him yesterday? That dude looks like he's been through some shit.
Dude, he looked fantastic.
No, not at all.
Can we just be clear on this? Tom Brady has not had any off-season plastic surgery. That's all a Fox cover. He's actually on The Masked Singer.
He could be on The Masked Singer. Looks like he's wearing a mask right now.
Like it already is.
I would love if he takes off a mask
this
in these
whole,
interviews. And he's like,
Tom Brady
this is actually a plastic surgery mask. And it's like regular Tom Brady. And then he takes off a mask of The Masked Singer. And it's like regular Tom Brady also at the same time. That would be fantastic. If he's wearing a plastic surgery
Tom Brady
mask.
and Giselle marriage struggle at home is all fabricated.
Oh no, that shit's real, bud. That shit's real. We all have careers and wives and kids. We all know what's going on there. That's just a thing. He's 45 years old. He's got a lot of shit going on.
So guys,
it's manufactured by Fox to deflect from the fact he's on The Masked Singer.
I hope he's on The Masked Singer. I'm gonna watch it. I picked the Jags over the Chargers because obviously I told you guys last week they've released Trevor Lawrence and he's good, so I'm gonna keep picking him for a little while. All right, let's move on.
And let's think about this.
Such a Danny.
Dude, they did. They released him and he's good. They let him run around and he's getting hits and he's like playing well, man. I'm gonna do it again.
The Kraken. That did it.
Dude, he's good. He's a fucking specimen.
I'm gonna say this, and this is gonna be just my only hot
Looks like
take.
one of those Stonehenge dudes.
Justin Herbert throws a lot of touchdowns. They lose a lot of games. That's it. They lose a lot of games. A surprising amount of games for throwing that many touchdowns. Let's talk Rams Cardinals. Rams played fine. Cardinals came off one of the biggest comebacks we've seen in a long time. Hunter Renfrow fumbled twice on the last possession. Twice. He's not supposed to fumble like that. Dabo would not care for that shit at all. So what do we got? +4, -4. I think the Rams are a 4-point favorite. Let's go with Andy.
Yeah, I took the Cards +4. The Rams almost let the Falcons back in, and the Falcons are not very good. Arizona beat a Vegas team that is pretty good. The fumbles had a lot to do with that, for sure. But I'm just not going to bet on a team that almost loses to Atlanta.
Yeah.
I'm taking the Cards +4, getting more in the field goal.
I don't know if it's me overthinking it, but I'm definitely not playing this one because with the Rams choking away their 10-point cover, it just brings to mind the immortal Joe Pesci from Lethal Weapon, and they fuck you in the drive-through. They had that game covered like so well, and they choked away, I think, 2 separate touchdowns to let the Falcons back in. And then they had the audacity to walk out of there with like a 6-point victory. Fuck the Rams. I ain't taking them until they show me who they are, and I don't know who they are yet.
You got trauma from when you used to have to root for Stafford when he was a Lion. He's good as a Ram, Al. I'm sorry, he's good as a Ram. You're wrong.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep it rolling here. Al, looks like you got a pick an Atlanta going into Seattle.
Yeah, this is the stinkiest play I have of the week, college or pro. I'm laying the points, Seahawks -2. I got it at a good number. I think it's moved from there. Seattle's still a hard place to play, and the Falcons got to go out west for this one. Seahawks have looked impressive in their games. The 40 are really good, so you can't really fault them too much for that one. The Falcons are still the Falcons. They love to choke games away, and if you're going out west to a hostile crowd, it's going to be tough to not choke another one away. So, yeah, give me the Seahawks.
Here's some fun stats. Geno Smith in his 2 games has thrown for 392 yards, which is 196 yards a game. He has 2 touchdowns and 1 pick. He has completed 81% of his passes at 58, but he just sucks, dude. Like, I don't – my play here is just going to be to tease the Atlanta number to 8, and it seems like the easiest play I can have.
Matt, I don't mean to contradict myself, but how can you say that Geno Smith sucks?
Because he's not good.
Yeah.
But he's won.
He had his shining moment week 1.
In that half of football, he was great.
He was really good in the first half of the first game. The other 3 halves, he stunk. And the Denver.
How many times do you expect to see that?
Is Geno Smith the best quarterback who's ever gotten his jaw broken by a backup linebacker?
Yes.
That's probably fair.
What's funny, so here's a little funny side note. So that guy, I forget his name, but it's like I forget what it is, but he.
Sorry to drag this into the mud again. We don't need to try and remember this guy's name.
No,
Matto, go on.
NK Ekempale or something like that.
That is so close. You are almost right. I looked this up like last week, and you are so close.
It's very close to that, right? He so I wrote for a Lions blog for a little while, and all the guys that were on that Lions blog, because I think he actually signed with the Lions temporarily, but he went through and he would like all these tweets about like shitting on Geno Smith, so it was great. He's a petty king.
You want to get a Lions like. You just shit on Geno Smith, and you can get a Ottawa Gunley like.
Yes.
My point here is there's a teaser play here. If I can get more than a touchdown on Atlanta, I think that's the play. Look, I am justifying hating Geno Smith while justifying Marcus Mariota. I'm living in a dichotomous relationship of hating myself on both sides. It is a terrible place to be, but I think taking Atlanta and rolling it up to 8, it's going to be a 1-score game. It's not going to be a very fun game. It's probably worth going under 43 as well, because I don't think either team can score in any like serviceable fashion.
Matt, I will not abide Marcus Mariota slander. I love the guy. I'm glad he's starting and thriving, and I hope the Falcons stop choking games away and we can say it was all Matt Ryan, and Matt Ryan's a giant fraud. who's just like got
clearly not Matt Ryan's fault after last week. Marcus Mariota did that whole comeback, and then at the very end, he falconed.
Remind me again, what happened to the Colts last week? They got steamrolled by the Jags. Okay, so TBD.
Okay.
Still up in the air a little bit on that one.
I was just gonna say, we talked about how Geno Smith played out of his mind for Geno Smith, right? And in that first game against the Broncos, they put up 17 points. If you playing out of your mind results in your team putting up 17 points, like that's best case scenario. You can't expect him to play any better than that. So I'm not here for the Geno Smith hype train. I didn't play this, but if I did, it'd probably be on Atlanta. And if the number gets any bigger, I definitely will. And if it is where it is, I'll probably tease it with Matt.
I'm absolutely going to take Atlanta in this game, and I mean, I was just joking about the Geno Smith shit I was talking about earlier. I was trying to get Matt to make me give him the Chuggy out he had to do earlier. I was just trying to piss him off.
Danny, you got it. I forgot I had the Chuggy. I've had so many internet issues. I've been disheveled. I'm all out of sorts.
All right. That's all. No. Give it out on a naturally, because we have like so many games left to pick. Anyway, no, I'm out on Geno Smith. I was just trying to make discourse. I'm out on Geno Smith.
I gotta say, ever since the internet cleared up and we're back on, this has been a fire. We're on fire. We're rolling, boys. If you've made it this far, you know that you been through some trials and tribulations, and you stuck through for the sunny days, and here we are.
All right, let's get to sunny days in Tampa, Florida. We got the Green Bay Packers to battle the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I believe Tampa is a 2.5-point favorite. I think Andy's got to play here.
Whoever picked this game, I don't want to be your friend anymore. I'm sorry. No.
That's hurtful, but okay. I'm taking Green Bay.
25 years of friendship down the drain.
Yeah, I gave it to you. Wait a second, guys. Let Danny chug the beer, and we can't talk until Danny's done. Man, it's so long. I wish we could talk.
I can't even hear the glugging. I can see it, but I can't hear it.
Talking is so fun, and Danny not being able to talk. All right, Andy.
I'm sorry. I muted it while I was chugging. Sorry.
You shouldn't have muted. Don't mute.
Sorry, I wanted you guys to be able to talk and still continue the podcast. I didn't realize you were gonna. Anyway,
it's nice having us talk and then hearing like in the background. So, Andy, as you were.
I'm taking Green Bay plus the 2.5. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers seem to be in disarray. Mike Evans is suspended for a game. They're fighting people. They've got all kinds of injuries. And the Packers look like they put things together last night. Yes, it was against the Bears. No, the Bears aren't very good. But at this point, I just have more faith that the Packers are going to get their shit together than that Tampa Bay is. So if you're giving me a couple of points, I'm taking it. And then I think Matt has a play also, which I really like too.
Yeah, I'm going to tease this. We talked about Atlanta a second ago, and it seemed like the only play to have. I'm also going to take Green Bay in my teaser here and roll them up to 8.5. A lot of the points Andy said echo well with what I think. Tampa Bay's been really odd. They played Dallas really well, but they still kicked like 5 field goals in that game and scored a touchdown. It was a very weird game to watch. That game against New Orleans, Jameis threw the ball to the other defender like 3 times at 8 passes. It was bananas. He had a terrible game. I don't think I'm going to regret saying this. I think you may be seeing Tom Brady falling apart a little bit. I think there may be other.
On that note, I'm going to fade this pick, and I am taking the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because Tom Brady is never going to decline, and I'm going to lay the 2.5. That's it.
Teasing Packers, teasing Falcons, very smart. You guys are smart guys. I fucking hate it. I fucking hate it so bad. The Bucks, the reason Tom Brady hasn't looked good is because the Bucs haven't had their number one receiver. The number one receiver is not Mike Evans, it's Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin, I think, is still going to be out for this next game. I do not know for sure. That is definitely something I would look at before I made any bets. If his status is, if he looks like he's going to go, I would probably not play.
Godwin's worth like 2 points at least, maybe 3.
He is that offense. That offense runs through him. He's the guy he's the outlet. He's the guy that Brady is comfortable with. There's lots of other guys on that team, and Brady can be comfortable with a lot of dudes, but Godwin is what made the offense hum last year. Mike Evans as a number 2 receiver, elite. Mike Evans as a number 1 on his own, he can be accounted for. And so, I don't know. I think you guys made a good argument for teasing those plays, but it's a big no from me.
We had the Sunday night and Monday night bets. We did a real shit job last week, and I want to apologize. We didn't put them on TikTok, and that's on us. This week they will be on TikTok. This week they will be on TikTok. We'll make sure to tease them. They're going to be guaranteed winners 100,000%. So if you don't like making money, don't follow our TikTok. But if you like making money, follow our TikTok. That's the easiest way to do it, at ChuggieBets. But
the way you know they're going to be winners is because I'm going to pick them, and you're going to know to go the other way.
Yeah, the Fanny, the Fade Danny. The Fade Danny. All right, so what are our ChuggieBets of the week? Andy, what you got?
Bears minus 2.5.
Ooh, feeling good about it. I like it. Al, what you got?
I'm going to say Bengals minus 5.
Danny, what do you have for us, bud?
I'm going to take Chelsea over Crystal Palace.
That's like in 3 weeks. Lord.
There's an international break.
All right, I'm just kidding. It's tax season. Baltimore.
Baltimore minus 3. I'm going to take Las Vegas minus 1 on the road at Tennessee. There's no reason that Tennessee should be better than Vegas. I know they have to travel east, and I understand the home field advantage, but it seems like the right play. All right, everybody. That should wrap up our NFL podcast. If you love guaranteed money, you should listen to this podcast more often. Make sure you follow, like, subscribe, ring the bell, do all of those things. And hey, realize we love you. Until next time, we'll be here next week. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.